Welcome back, children of grade 8, for our today's English class. Today in this session, we are going to see the supplementary reader from our supplementary book, It So Happened, Chapter 8, the title of the chapter, Jalebis, written by Ahmad Nadeem Qasmi. Children, let's see about the author now. Ahmad Nadeem Qasmi. He is the author of this story. He was an Urdu and English language Pakistani poet, journalist, literary critic, dramatist, and a short story writer. He wrote 50 books on topics such as poetry, fiction, criticism, journalism, and art. And also, he was a major figure in contemporary Urdu literature. So children, that's all from the author, Ahmad Nadeem Qasmi. So children, as usual, let's watch a video clip about the story Jalebis. Jalebis. It happened many years ago. I was in the 5th standard at the government school, Kumbalpur, now called Attic. One day I went to school with 4 rupees in my pocket to pay the school fees and the fund. When I got there, I found that the teacher who collected the fees, Master Ghulam Muhammad, was on leave, and so the fees would be collected the next day. All through the day, the coins simply sat in my pocket. But once school got over and I was outside, they began to speak. All right, coins, don't talk or go kanak. But I am telling you that the day they actually spoke, one coin said, "What are you thinking about? Those fresh hot jalebis coming out of the Kadai Inn. Over there, they aren't coming out for nothing. Jalebis are meant to be eaten and only those with money in their pocket can eat them. And money isn't for nothing. Money is meant to be spent and only to spend. Who like jalebis? Look here. For 4 rupees I said to them, I'm a good boy, don't misguide me or I won't be good boy for you. I get so much at home and I consider even looking at something in the bazaar a sin. Besides, you are my fees and fund money. If I spend you today, then how shall I show my face to my master Ghulam Muhammad in school tomorrow? And after that to Alamiyan at Qayamat, you probably don't know, but when Master Ghulam Muhammad gets angry and makes you stand on, the bench simply forgets to let you sit till the last bell rings. So it's best to you to stop chewing at my ears like this and let me go home straight. The coins disliked what I'd said so much that all of them began to speak at the same time. There was such a clamor that passers-by in the bazaar stared, eyes wide with surprise at me and my pocket. The coins of those days, the brick thing, made so much more noise too. Finally, in a panic, I grabbed all 4 of them and held them tight in my fist. And then they were silent. After taking a few steps, I loosened my grip. Immediately, the oldest coin said, "Here we are trying to tell you something for your own good. And you tell me honestly now, don't you feel like eating those hot jalebis? If you do end up spending for us today, won't you get the scholarship money tomorrow?" Sweets with the fees money, fees with the scholarship money. End of story. Kaisa hatam, paisa hasam. What are you saying? Isn't right? I replied. It isn't that wrong either? Listen, stop blabbering and let me think. I am not a common sort of boy. But then these jalebis are no common sort of jalebis either. They are crisp, fresh and full of sweet syrup. My mouth watered, but I wasn't about to be swept away so easily. In my school, I was among the most promising students. In the 4th standard exam, I had even won a scholarship of 4 rupees a month. Besides, I came from a particular well-to-do family, so I enjoy considerable prestige. I'd never once been beaten so far. On the contrary, Masterji had got me to beat the other boys. For a child of such status standing there in the middle of the bazaar eating jalebis, No, I. It wasn't right, I decided. I clenched the rupees in my fist and came home. The coins were so keen on being spent that day. They kept up their attempts at persuasion till their voices began to choke. When I reached home and sat on the bed, they began to speak. I went inside to have my lunch. They began to shriek. Thoroughly fed up, I rushed out of the house barefoot and ran towards the bazaar. Terrified I was, but quickly I told the Hawaii to weigh the whole rupee worth of jalebis. He, astonished and looked, seemed to be asking where I had the handcart in which I could carry all those jalebis. Those were inexpensive times. 1 rupee fetched more than 20 rupees does nowadays. The hall boy opened up a whole newspaper and heaped a pile of jalebis on it. Just I was gathering up the heap, in the distance I spotted our Tonga. Chacha Jan was returning from court. I just clutched the jalebis to my chest and ran into a gilly. When I reached a safe corner, I began to devour the jalebis. I ate so much of jalebis that if any pressed my stomach a little, jalebis would have popped out of my ears and nostrils. Very quickly, boys from the entire neighborhood assembled in the galley. But that time, I was so pleased with my stomach full of jalebis that I got into the mood for some fun. I started handing out jalebis to the children around. Delighted, they ran off, jumping and screaming into the galleys. Soon a while, lot of other children appeared, probably having heard the good news from the others. I dashed to the halwai and bought 1 more rupees worth of jalebis, came back and stood on the chungutra on one of the houses, liberally distributing jalebis to the children, just like the Gauma Sahib used to distribute rice to the poor and needy on the Independence Day. Now there was a huge mob of children around me. The beggars too launched an assault. If the children could be elected to the assembly, my success would have been assured that day. I bought jalebis for the remaining 2 rupees as well and distributed them. Then I washed my hands and mouth at the public tap and returned home, putting on such an innocent face, as if I hadn't been seen the hint of jalebis all my life. Jalebis I had grabbed up easily enough, but digesting them became another matter. With every breath came a burp, with every burp the danger of bringing out jalebi or two. The fear was killing me. At night I had to eat my dinner as well. If I hadn't eaten, I would have been asked to examine why I did not want any food. If I had pretended illness, the doctor would have been summoned, and if the doctor, after feeling my pulse, had declared Munna had devoured a mound of jalebis, I would simply die. The result was that all night I lay, coiled up like a jalebi, suffering a stomachache. Thank God I did not have to eat all 4 rupees worth of jalebis by myself. Otherwise, as they say, when children speak, flowers shower from the mouths. But I would be the first child in the world with whose every word a strip fried jalebis would come out. Children don't have stomachs, they have digestion machines. But my mission too kept working right through the night. In the morning, just like any other day, I washed my face and like a virtuous student with chalk and slate in hand, I headed for school. I knew I would get the previous month's scholarship that day. And once I paid the fees, with that amount, the jalebis would be completely digested. But when I got to school, I found out that the scholarship was going to be paid for the following month. My head started to spin. I felt as if I was standing on my head and could not get on my feet again even if I tried. Master Ghulam Muhammad announced that the fees would be taken during the interval. When the interval bell rang, I tucked my bag under my arm and left the school, simply followed my nose, walking on and on. If no mountain or ocean blocked my path, I would have kept going till the earth ended and the sky began. And once I got there, I would say to Allah Mian, just this once, save me. Order a farista to pass by and drop just 4 rupees in my pocket. I promise I'll use them only to pay my fees and not to eat jalebis. I couldn't reach the point where the earth ended, but definitely reached the point where the Kumbhalpur railway station began. So, children, that's all from the first part. Let's read whether the small boy received the 4 rupees from the Allah Mian by reading the second part from the text. Children, all of you take page number 62, the title of the chapter, Jalebis. Children, let's start the story. Our supplementary reader, Jalebis. Look at here, the first part and its gist for you. I'll read it for you, children. An honest boy is on his way to school carrying money in his pocket to pay the school fees. A sight of crisp, syrupy Jalebis is in the market excites him, and the coins in his pocket begin to jingle. After a long debate with himself, he yielded to the sweet temptation. So, in the gist, we have seen about the boy who is on the way to school and having money in his pocket to pay his school fees. Through the way, he could see the sight of crispy, syrupy Jalebis in the market, and immediately the coin started to jingle. That means it started to make noise. After a long debate, after a long interaction between the coin and the boy, finally he yielded. He came to an end and he bought the sweets and he finished eating that sweets. So that is the gist here. Let's read the story now. So look at here. It happened many years ago. I was in the 5th standard at the government school, Kumbalpur. So here the story was happened for many years ago. The boy was the honest boy who was studying 5th standard in the government school, Kumbalpur. Now it was called as Attack. One day I went to school with 4 rupees in my pocket to pay the school fees and the fund. When I got there, I found that the teacher who was collecting the fees, who is the teacher here? Master Ghulam Muhammad. Yes. So he was on leave. So the fees would be collected the next day. So he brought the money, 4 rupees, to pay the school fees. But the collecting teacher, who is Master Ghulam Muhammad, he was on leave. So he told that the fee will be collected tomorrow. All through the day, the coins simply sat in my pocket. But once school got over, I was outside. They began to speak. So, till he was inside the school campus, the coins were very silent. But once the school got over and he reached the outside of the school campus, they started to speak. So, this was in the first paragraph, children. Let's move on to the second paragraph now. All right, coins don't talk. They jingle or go kanak kanak. But I am telling you that they actually spoke. One coin said, "What are you thinking about? Those fresh hot jalebis coming out of the kadai in the shop over there. They are not coming out for nothing. Jalebis are meant to be eaten, only those with money. So here the coins, they started to talk and they started to jingle, and immediately he said, "What you are thinking about? There you have a fresh hot syrupy jalebis out there. It is coming out of the kadai. Kanak kanak." See here the meaning for the sound of the jingling of coins. Jalebis is a syrupy Indian sweet. Kadai means large open pot for cooking and boiling. So that is what kadai, children. So children, that's all from page number 62. Let's move on to page number 63. So the coins, they are started talking and they are telling the honest boy, the young boy, to use the money and buy the jalebi. In the pocket can eat them. And money isn't for nothing. Money is meant to be spent. Only they spend it who like jalebis. So here the coins, they started talking and they are convincing the boy to buy the jalebi, and they are telling that money is only meant to spend. You can use this money to eat the jalebis, to buy the jalebis. So this is what the coin told to the small boy. "Look here, you are 4 rupees, I said to them. I am a good boy, don't misguide me, or I won't be a good for you. I get so much at home that I consider even looking at something in the bazaar a sin. So here he is telling that I'm a good boy, cannot spend this money for eating jalebis. Don't misguide, don't me in a wrong area, and don't make me as a bad boy. So I'm a good boy in my school as well as at home, and I have all the things at home. So this is what the boy is replying here. So here, besides you are my fees and fund money. So here he is talking to the coin that, and he is telling that you are not the money to spend, you are my fees money and the fund money. If I spend you today, how shall I show my face to the master Ghulam Muhammad in the school tomorrow? So here, if I spend the money, how can I face Ghulam Muhammad in the school tomorrow? After that, Allah Mian at Gayamat, you probably don't know it, but when Master Ghulam Muhammad gets angry, he makes the students to stand on the bench and simply forgets to let you sit till the last bell ring. So here the boy is speaking and he is telling about the punishment Master Ghulam Muhammad will give. So here he is telling that if he get angry, he won't make the boy sit. He will make the boy stand on the bench till the last bell rings. So for the whole day, the students will get the punishment if he got angry. So this is the statement that the boy is telling about the master. So it's best you stop chewing at my ears and like this. So immediately the boy is telling that don't speak to me and don't talk anything to me like this hereafter, and let me go straight. So I have to go home straightly. So don't talk. Chewing means he is speaking. So stop speaking at my ears, he is telling. So that's all from this paragraph, children. Look at the next paragraph. The coins disliked what I'd said so much that all of them began to speak at the same time. So immediately after he said, all the coins, they just disliked and they started to speak at the same time. There was such a clamor. Clamor means here, look at the meaning here, loud noise. What is my clamor, children? It means loud noise. Clamor means loud noise. So there was such a clamor that passers by in the bazaar stare. So because of the noise, all the people who are just walking around the bazaar, they just stopped there and they are just looking constantly on the boy. Eyes wide with surprise at me and my pocket. So people just, they stood and stared with eyes wide and in a surprise. They are all looking at me and to my pocket. The coin of those days, the wrecked thing, made so much more noise too. Finally, in the panic, I grabbed all of them and held them tightly in my fist, and they were all silent. So finally, after he got irritated, he just grabbed all the four of them in his hand, tightly in his palm. Fist means palm. Okay, center part of the hand. It is known as fist. And then they were all silent after he kept all those four coins in the palm. Okay, children? So that's all from page number 63. Let's move on to page number 64. After taking a few steps, I loosened my grip. Immediately, the oldest coin said, "Here, we are trying to tell you something your own good. You are trying to strangle us instead. Tell me honestly now, don't you feel like eating those hot jalebis?" So, at last, as a last try, the old coin started to speak to the boy. What it said: "Don't you have a feeling of eating the hot jalebis? Tell me honestly." So the coin is asking the young boy, honest boy. "And then if you do end up spending us for today, won't you get the scholarship money tomorrow?" So the oldest coin started convincing the boy and telling that definitely you will get the scholarship money tomorrow. So spend this money today. This is the bad idea which was given by the oldest coin that speaks to the boy. Sweets with the fees with the scholarship money, he is asking. So sweets I cannot eat the sweets with the fees money. I cannot pay the fees for the scholarship money. End of the story. Kaisa Hatam, Paisa Hazam. So this is in Hindi. It was given. What are you saying? Isn't right, replied. So immediately after they are convincing the boy, very strong, and he is just telling that, what are you not isn't right? I replied, it is not right, he said, but isn't the wrong either? Listen, stop blabbering. Immediately the coins are telling it is not wrong. You can do it. Just listen, stop blabbering, let me think. He is telling. So here they were started speaking to the boy. Immediately the boy replied that, stop blabbering. Blabbering means here, meaning talking confusedly. Talking confusedly. That is known as blabbering. Okay. So, and let me think. So, blabbering means talking confusedly. So, immediately the boy is telling that, stop blabbering, stop talking, and don't confuse me. Let me think, he said. I am not a common sort of boy, but then these jalebis are not common sort of jalebis either. So immediately the boy is just replying that I am not a common sort of boy, but immediately again the coin is telling that it is not a common jalebi. They are crisp, fresh, full sweet syrup. So they are full of crisp, fresh and full sweet syrup. So here the coins, they are just deviating the boy and they are confusing still. And look at the next paragraph here. My mouth watered. So after those coins, they started to speak and told about the jalebis. They were crisp, fresh and full of sweet syrup. Immediately the boy got tempted and his mouth immediately started to water. But I wasn't about to swept away so easily. In school, I was among the most. Immediately, even though he was watered, but he was still very confident that he cannot go and get the jalebis. He was very strong in that. School, I was among the most promising students. In the 4th standard exams, I had even won a scholarship of 4 rupees months. So here he is telling that how much he is intelligent, how much he is a brilliant student in his school, and even in the 4th standard exam. Now he is studying 5th standard. In the previous year, he is telling that in the last year for 4th standard exam, in the 4th standard exam, he just won the scholarship of 4 rupees. Every month he received 4 rupees. Besides, I came from a particular well-to-do family. Even though I am a good student, I am a bright student, but my family is a well-to-do. Well-to-do means wealthy, somewhat wealthy from family. We are not poor. So this is what told by the boy. So I enjoyed considerable prestige. Prestige means respect. So I used to enjoy the respect that was given in the school as well as in my home, as I was a bright student. Okay, so this was the statement given by the boy. I had never once been beaten so far. So the boy is telling, honest boy is telling that I never been beaten by the Master Ji. On the contrary, Master Ji has got me to beat the other boys for a child as of such status standing there in the middle of the bazaar eating jalebis. No. So even though he didn't get beating master so far, and he is telling that standing in the middle of the bazaar and eating jalebis is not nice. No, wasn't right. I decided. So there is a confusion and dilemma is going on inside. And I clenched means clenched the rupees. I clenched means I tightly hold. I clenched the rupees in my fist and come home. So he just tightly fabbed the coins in his palm and he just came back to the home again. Look at the last paragraph, children. The coins were so keen on being spent that day, they kept up their attempts as persuasion till their voice began to choke. So here the coins, they were keenly waiting for the boy to come out of the house and just move on to get the jalebis. So they are waiting and they are just raising their voice and speaking to him constantly. When I reached home, I sat on the bed. They began to speak. So immediately after reached home, even they didn't stop their mouths. They didn't shut their mouths. Even after he reached home and sat on the bed, they began to speak. I went inside to have lunch. They began to shriek. Shriek means hear noise. So after he entered the dining hall to start eating his lunch, they began to shriek. They began to speak again. Thoroughly fed up, I rushed out of the house. So at last the boy was fed up and he rushed out of the house in a barefoot. Barefoot means without any slippers. So he rushed out of the house and in a barefoot and ran towards the bazaar. He just ran towards the bazaar. Terrified I was. But quickly I told the halwa to weigh the whole rupees worth of jalebis. So at last he lost his patience and he just bought the jalebis and he moved towards the bazaar. He ran towards the bazaar to buy the jalebis. Terrified I was, but quickly I told the halwai to weigh a whole rupees of worth of jalebis. He reached the jalebis shop and he asked the man, halwai, he told the halwai means here the seller, jalebi seller, who to weigh asked worth of jalebis. His astonished look seemed to be asking where I had the handcart in which I could carry all those jalebis. So immediately the shop seller, jalebi seller, was astonished, shocked on seeing him asking this question because he don't have any paper or bag in his hand to carry those jalebis. Those were inexpensive times. 1 rupee fetched more than 20 rupees does nowadays. Nowadays, 1 rupee has no value for 1 rupee, but it is a value of 20 rupees. Golden days. The halwai opened up the whole newspaper and heaped a pile of jalebis on it. So seller, the jalebi seller, halwai means the jalebi seller, he opened a whole newspaper and he heaped means he just arranged over one another, and it was like a pile of jalebis and lots of jalebis. He just arranged over and over on the newspaper, on the whole newspaper. So that's all from the first part of the story. Let's move on to the second part now. So look at the gist of the second part. A heap of jalebis he eats and shares them liberally with one another, one and all. Though penniless now, he feels no less important than a mob leader. The real problem at hand is payment of school fees on time. So this is the gist of the second part, children. Let's move on to the story here. Just I was gathering up the heap, in the distance I spotted our Tanga. Chacha Jan was returning from court. So the boy saw his own grandfather returning from the court. So immediately he just clutched the jalebis. I clutched the jalebis to my chest and ran into the galley. Clutched means hold tightly the jalebis into his chest and he ran to the galley. Galley means it's a narrow lane, narrow street. Okay, children. When I reached a safe corner, I began to devour. Devour means started to eat. Devour the jalebis. I ate so many jalebis that if anyone pressed my stomach, see here it was very funny. If someone pressed his stomach, the jalebis would have popped out of his ears and nostrils. So that means he ate so many of jalebis inside the stomach. He just gobble and devour all the jalebis inside. Now there is no space in the stomach even. The stomach was completely filled with the jalebis. So if someone pressed his stomach, the jalebis will come out. Pop out means jumped out from his ears and nostrils. So it's such a funny comment statement here. So that's all. No! So here you can see the glossary means two-wheeled. So Tonga, here Tonga. In a distance, I spotted our Tonga. Tonga means horse-drawn vehicle. So two-wheeled horse vehicle. Galley means narrow lane, narrow street. Okay, children. So that's all from page number 65. Let's move on to page number 66, children. So let's continue page number 66, children. Very quickly, boys from entire neighborhood assembled in the galley. So here, after he bought handful of jalebis, on seeing this, all the boys, the entire neighborhood, that means the nearby houses, children, they assembled, they circled around like a bees in the street. Galley means in the narrow street. By that time, I was so pleased with my stomach full of jalebis that I got into my mood for some fun. Not to give the jalebis to everyone. I started handing out jalebis to the children around. Delighted, they ran off. So after distributing the jalebis to the children around him, and they all happy and then ran away, jumping and screaming into the galleys. So here, after receiving the children all, they were happy. After receiving the jalebis, they were happy and they jumped and screamed on into the galleys. Soon a while, a lot of other children appeared there, probably having heard the good news from the others. So from the first time, the children, those who received the jalebis, they informed and they sent so many other children also to the place. So many other children, they also gathered there in front of him. Soon the other children also appeared there to receive, after hearing about the good news that the honest boy, this young boy who is distributing the jalebis. I dashed to the halwai and bought 1 more rupees worth of jalebis, came back and stood on the Chumbatra. Chumbatra means it's a platform. So look at the meaning for the word Chumbatra, children. Chumbatra means a platform of one of the houses. So it was the platform of one of the houses in the galley. And liberally means freely, he distributing the jalebis to the children just like the governor sahib. So like a governor, he is distributing the jalebis. Like a governor used to distribute rice to the poor and needy on the Independence Day. So here's another funny thing happening here. He is just giving the jalebis like a governor sahib who used to distribute rice to the poor and needy people in the Independence Day. So this was the incident that he is just pointing out here, that how he is distributing the jalebis to the small and young children. Okay, so by now there was a huge mob of children around me. So after that, a huge mob means a crowd of children, they just came around him, and the beggars too launched there an assault. So assault means attack. So even not only the kids, small kids, even beggars, even so many beggars, they launched means they arrived there to the place that in the galley. And assault means they started to attack. If the children could be elected to the assembly, my such would have been assured that the day, because one little signal, my jalebi wielding hand, and the mob would have been to kill and get killed for me. So here he is telling that if he said that there is no jalebi for them, immediately in an angry mob, the crowd of children, they will just started to beat me, even they will kill me, he is telling here. And I bought jalebis for the remaining 2 rupees as well, distributed. So at last he spent all the money that he had. So here he is just again going to the halboy and he bought 2 rupees as well, distributed them. Then I washed my hands. So here, after spending all the money that he had, washed his hands and mouth in the public tap, and he returned home in an innocent face. He did not even see a hint of jalebi all his life. So that's all from page number 66, children. Let's move on to page number 67. Jalebis I had gobbled up easily enough. So after seeing the jalebis, he just gobbled, he swallowed lots and lots of jalebis, but digesting them became another matter. So here He gobbled all the jalebis easily, but now the digestion part of the stomach is definitely a difficult thing. With every breath came a burp. Burp means here, gobble means eaten quickly or greedily. Swallowed. With every breath came a burp. With every burp, the danger of bringing out a jalebi or two. The fear was killing me. So here, another funny thing here. Each and every burp means it is a releasing of air that was produced by mouth through the stomach. That is known as burp. And with every burp, the danger of bringing out a jalebi or no, or two. The fear was killing me. So here it was a problem that he faced, that was a digesting problem. At night I had to eat my dinner as well. So here at home at night he has to eat his dinner, otherwise his mother will exam and she will ask why you are not eating the food. Well, and this was the problem he faced so here at night I had to eat my dinner as well. If I hadn't eaten, I would have been asked to explain why I did not want any food, and if I had pretend illness in summoned, if the doctor after feeling my pulse had declared Munna has devoured amount of jalebis, I would simply die. So here he was afraid to say this to his mother also, that if he didn't eat the dinner immediately, then his mother got a doubt and she will ask for the reason. So he just pretend his illness, hide the sickness. The doctor will be called, and if he checked him, immediately he will find out that he just eaten so many jalebis. If the matter reached the parents, definitely his mother will beat him nicely. So everything was a problem for him. So he couldn't disclose anything to the mother. So he just tackled the situation and he tolerated the stomach pain by himself. So that's all from this paragraph, children. Let's move on to the next paragraph. Here the meaning for the word summoned means called up the doctor. Summoned means called up. The result was that all night I lay coiled up like a jalebi, suffering with a stomach ache. So throughout the night he tolerated his stomach ache. Stomach ache means stomach pain, and he just coiled himself like a jalebi. Thank God I did not have to eat all 4 rupees worth of jalebis by myself. Thanked God that he did not eat the 4 rupees worth of jalebis all by himself. He ate half of the jalebis by himself, and remaining things he distributed to the small children and the beggars. So that is what he is telling here. Otherwise, when the children speak, flowers shower from their mouths. I would be the first child in the world with whose every word crisp fried jalebi would come out. That's all from this paragraph. Let's move on to the next paragraph, children. Children don't have stomachs. So here he is telling the children don't have stomachs. They have digestion machines. Having digestion machines in the stomach. My machine too kept working right through the night. Okay, he is telling that the machine was kept working throughout the night. In the morning, just like any other day, I washed my face like a virtuous student with a chalk and a slate in hand. I headed to school. He woke up early and he washed his face and took bath, and he got ready like a good student. He is just taking his chalk and slate and he started to moving to the school. I knew I would get the previous month's scholar that day, and once I paid the fees, with that amount, the jalebis would be completely digested. Previous month scholarship will be given in the school that day. If the amount he received, immediately what he had gobbled, all the jalebis will completely digested after receiving the money. So this was the thing happened here. But what happened? It was just upside down. But when I got to the school, I found that the scholarship was given to be paid to the following month. So after hearing this, the head started to spin. So his head started to spin, rotate. I felt as if I was standing on my head. I could not get onto my feet again, even if I tired. Master Ghulam Muhammad announced that the fees would be taken during the recess. So here, Master Ghulam Muhammad came there to the classroom and he said that the fees money will be collected in the interval time. That is in the break time. When the interval bell rang, I tucked my bag under the arm because as the fees money he spent and he ate the jalebis like a jalebis, so now he doesn't have any single rupee in his hand. So he just immediately tucked means packed all his things in his bag and he kept under his arm and left the school, simply followed my nose, and he went out with the bag out of the school campus. Walking on and on. So immediately he started walking on and on. If no more mountain or ocean blocked my path, asked me question. So immediately he just ran towards the end of the earth. I would have kept going till the end of the earth. So he thought that he want to go for the till the end of the earth, and the sky began where the sky starts. Once I got there, I would say to Allah Mian, just this once, save me. Order a farishta to pass by and drop just 4 rupees in my pocket. So after he reached the end of the earth, after he touched the sky where it started, he immediately asked the Allah God, Allah Mian the God, that he has to save him. Just only for this time, ordered a farishta. Farishta means here angel. Farishta means here angel. He asking and praying to God, Allah, to save him from this time once, and order the angel to pass by and drop 4 rupees in his pocket. I promise I will use only to pay my fees, not to eat jalebis. He is just promising to God that definitely this time if you give money, I will not spend it for eating jalebis. I couldn't reach the point where the earth ends, but definitely I reached the point where Kambalpur railway station began. So he ran and he reached at last. He didn't reach the end of the earth, but he reached the point that where Kambalpur railway station began. So he reached the railway station, not the end of the earth. Virtuous means good, noble. So that is the glossary here. First one is gobble means quickly eaten, greedily. Someone means called. Virtuous means good and noble. Farishta means angel. So that's all from page number 67, children. Let's move on to page number. Had warned me never to cross the railway tracks. So while I was crossing the railway tracks, all the elders, all the old people who were standing there, they told me and they warned strictly that you should not cross the railway track. Fine. The elders had also warned me that one must never eat sweets with one's school fees. How did this instruction escape my mind that day? I don't know. That's it from the second part, children. Let's move on to the third part of the story now. So look at the third part here, children. Remorseful and scared, he prays to God for monetary help. Remorseful. Here remorseful means sorry and scared. He told to the God and to give the monetary. Monetary means here the money. What he asked for, 4 rupees, to help him. He makes matters look normal but prays harder than ever. The next point, the inevitable happens, though somewhere along the way he noticed the divide between the fanciful and factual. This is what in the gist of the third part. Let's read on the story here. There was a shade given tree beside the railway tracks. I sat under it, wondered whether there could possibly be a more child than me in this world. When the coins had first created a rocket in my pocket, the entire matter seemed to be so simple and straightforward. Eat jalebis with the fees money and they pay the fees with the scholarship money. I thought that 2 and 2 added up to 4 and could never be 5. How was I to know that sometimes I added up to 5 as well? Had I known that I would get the scholarship the next month, to have postponed my jalebi eating program the next month as well. So he just forgot and he thought that he will be receiving the scholarship money for the next day. So he strongly believed on that. He bought the jalebis and he now. So that's what he's telling, that if he came to know about that, definitely he would have not bought the jalebis and he would not eaten the jalebis. He would save the money for his school fee. But how he forgot about it. Because I too know that for the crime of eating a few jalebis for the first time in my life, I was absent from school. So this is the first time he's taking leave for the school because of the crime of eating the few jalebis for the first time in his life. So that is the reason he took absent. He took leave for the school. And he just scrouching means sitting as if hiding. Scrouching means hiding behind the tree, in the shady tree, in the deserted corner of the railway station. So in that corner there was a tree, there is no people around him, he was alone in the crouching means hiding under the tree, and was sitting under the tree in the railway station. Nobody is there. Sitting there under a tree, at first I felt like crying. So immediately after sitting while, he started to cry. Then I felt laughing when I struck me. As I was shedding were not tears but drops of jalebi syrup. So here, the another funny thing here, that so he started to cry. He just thought of it and just laughing, that all the tears that came out of his eyes, they all dropped like a jalebi syrup. Okay, from the jalebis, my thoughts went to the fees. From fees to Master Ghulam Muhammad can. Can means a stick, beating stick. From his can, I thought of God. I closed my eyes and began to pray. From jellies to here he had a thought of jalebis, went to fees, and fees it is move on to Master Ghulam Muhammad and his can. Can means beating can. So he has to pay the fees, otherwise the master will beat him. The jalebis, because of jalebis he could not pay the fees, first one, and because of the fees, if he didn't pay the fees, master will beat in his can. Ghulam Muhammad can will speak, and from his can, from the master's can, he came to the thought of God. So at last, after thinking all the things together, he closed his eyes and he began to pray to the God. Allah Mian, I am a very good boy. He is just praying now. So in this paragraph, he is praying and asking to the God Allah that I am a good boy, very good boy. I have memorized the entire namaz. So I know very well about the prayer that was given in the Muslim. So now even surats means surat verses from the Quran by heart. So he know everything. He is just asking the God, I know everything, all your words in the Quran. I have by-hearted everything. If you wish, I can recite the entire al-Kursi. Avatal Kursi means for you just now. It means saying the entire Quran and the verses. Here, he is asking the God, and the need of your devoted servant is only the fees of money that I ate jalebis with. So, all right, I admit I made a mistake. I didn't eat them all by myself. So here, yes, it is my mistake only, my God. Here the boy is speaking to the God directly, that he is just telling that I am accepting that it is my mistake only. Confessing his mistake that he made, but he is telling one more thing, that he didn't eat the whole jalebis by himself, but he gave of the jalebis to the another small children. Okay, and if I didn't know the scholarship money would be given next month, I would never have been eaten and nor fed them the others. Because of the mistake that he made, that for the next month scholarship money he thought that he'll be receiving tomorrow, that's why he had eaten the jalebis and he had given the jalebis to the others. So now you do one thing. So he's just asking to the God to do only one help. Just put 4 rupees in my bag. If there's a paisa more than 4 rupees, I will be very displeased with you. So if it is more than 4 rupees, 1 paisa, if there is more than 4 rupees, a paisa is there, definitely I'll be happy. I promise I ever eat sweets with my fees money again. So what he is telling, he is promising to the God that along with the 4 rupees, if you give 1 more paisa, I'll be happy. I am just promising that hereafter I will not eat sweets with the fees money. This is the promise he gave to the God Almighty Allah Mian. Then let a thief's punishment be my punishment. Then you can punish me. So if I am a thief, you can really punish me, he is just telling. So Allah Mian, just this once help me out. So for this only thing, please help me, he is just requesting the God. There is no shortage of anything in our treasure. So he had everything, all the wealth he had, but he is telling that there is no shortage in the wealth that you had. You have everything, anything in your treasury. Surats means verses from the Holy Quran. Title of the verse of Holy Quran. Treasury means wealth. C means pennon. Cho means sound of blowing over the bag. Two words of evil. Bismillah means the name of the God, words spoken before starting something. Allah ji, after all, I am a nephew of a big officer. So here he is telling that he is a nephew of the big officer to the God Almighty. Won't you give me just 4 rupees? He is asking. He is asking that can't you give 4 rupees from the treasury? Let's continue here. After the prayer, I offered namaz. So namaz means here the prayer and the verses from the Holy Quran. Awat al-Kurshi means the title of the verse in the Holy Quran. Treasury means wealth, as I told you before. Cho means sound of blowing over the bag. So here, after the prayer, I offered namaz, reciting 10 surats. Surats means verses of Awat al-Kurshi, the title of a verse in Holy Quran. Kalma-e-Tawab. In fact, everything that I remembered. So everything he by hearted, and he know all the verses that was available in the Quran, and he just reciting all the things and praying to the God Allah Mian. Then I blew over my bag saying Chu. Then after saying Bismillah, I realized that what? Bismillah means name of the God here. So that's all from page number 69, children. Let's move on to page number 70. I realized that what they said was only too true. No one can erase what fate has. Forget 4 rupees. There weren't even 4 rupees in my bag and notebooks. 1 pencil and 1 sharpener. 1 ID card. My Mamu had sent me last ID. So these are the things are there in his bag. I felt like crying as loudly as I could. But then I remember that the school must have been ended and the children must be on their way home. Immediately, then he thought that he started to move. Immediately he moved towards the bazaar and he stood there for the school bell to ring, so that when the children came out, I too would walk to the home with them as if I had come straight from the school. To hide this secret from his father, as he was waiting for the school bell to ring, and if the children all came out from the school, he will also started to move along with them as he came from the school. I didn't even realize that I was standing near the Jalebi Wala's shop. Suddenly, the hallboy called out, Yahun Bhaiya, shall I weigh rupees worth? He is just asking this question, shall I weigh the jalebis for you? Don't want jalebis today? I felt like saying I won't eat your jalebis today, but I would sure like to roast your liver and eat that instead. So here he is showing the anger and he is saying that I won't eat your jalebis today, but I will surely eat your liver and roast your liver and I will eat it today because I was in such angry on you because of the jalebi. I was standing outside of the school today. So he is thinking like that. But I wasn't feel too well that day. So I was simply moved away. So I am not feeling well on that day. So I simply left the matter and left the jalebi wala. I moved away from that place. The next day I did the same thing. So the same thing he did for the next day also. See here what he is doing. I got dressed. He wore the uniform and he left home and went up to the school gate. Then he turned off to the railway station. So in the previous day also he sat on the railway station and the next day also he just dressed in a school uniform and he just moved towards the school gate. After he reached the school gate, he turned off to the railway station. Under the same tree I sat. So today also, for the next day also, he sat under that same tree. I sat and began to say some prayers. Again he started to say some prayers to Allah Mian. I repeatedly pleaded. He just requesting the God, Allah Mian, at least give it to me today. And I said, all right, come, let's play a game. So here the boy, he started to play a game with the Lord Almighty. What was the game here? So look at here, children. I'll go from here to the signal. You secretly place 4 rupees under this big rock. So it is. When I reach this place, you have to place secretly 4 rupees under this big rock. So this was the game. He is going to play with the God. So I'll go from here to the signal. You have to place secretly 4 rupees under this big rock. He is playing with the God. I will touch the signal and come back. He ran and he touched the signal and he came back. But what fun it will be if I pick up the rock, find 4 rupees under. So are you ready? Just went and come back and touched for 2-3 times. First time he went and touched the signal and came back. Second time he just ran towards the signal and he came back. Third time also he ran towards the signal and came back. I went up to the signal and returned, smiling. But I could not find the courage to pick up the rock, 4 rupees or not. What if the coins were not there? If the coins were not there, but then I thought, what if they were? If they were, I'll be happy. If they were not there, under the big rock, I'll be disappointed. So here, finally, after saying Bismillah, Bismillah means Lord God, when I lifted up the rock, hairy worm got up and crawling and twisting, wriggling towards me. This is here a worm, big worm, hairy. Hairy means full of hair. The worm had body full of hair and it was just crawling. Crawling means moving towards him, coming towards him. Crawling means just moving over the sand. Twisting, wiggled means just twisting its body and moving towards him. I screamed and ran away, once again touched the signal. Again he screamed and ran away and he touched the signal and came back. So that's all from page number 70, children. Let's move on to page number 71. Then crawling on my hands and knees. So reached the tree. I tried my best not to let my eyes staring towards the rock. After 3 or more running, he was deadly tired of the rock. But as I picked up my bag and was About to leave, I had to look once again at the rock. So at last, finally, he thought to move from that place. He thought to think of that rock and he want to check it one more time under the rock. Do you know what I saw there? He's telling that. I saw Mr. Worm coiled on it comfortably, staring at me. So here again, the same worm was continuing again. Even now, he could not receive the coins, 4 rupees there. So that's all. This is the last paragraphs we are going to see in this story. I walked away thinking tomorrow I will do wazoo. Wazoo means ablution, means washing face, hands, feet before praying. Wear clean clothes and come here. From morning to noon, I will keep reading the namaz. If even after that Allah does not give 4 rupees, I will be to learn how to strike bargain or make deals with him. So he is just and fighting against the Lord God Almighty, and he is telling that if again tomorrow I will come here, this to the same place, I will do all the prayers. And again, if tomorrow also if the God did not give any 4 rupees, definitely I will force, I will strike, I will bargain to make deal with him. To whom? To God. So after all, if my Allah does not give my money 4 rupees, then who will give? That day, when I returned home, apparently from school, actually from the railway station, I was caught. So, while he was returning from the railway station, someone saw him and he was caught. The report of absence had reached home. Before he returning home, caught by the school people as well as the parent, and the report of absence reached the home. It's useless to relate what happened after that. So, definitely he will be got nicely from the parents as well as the teachers here. Well, whatever happened, so this is what he's thinking about. What happened. But up to the 7th or 8th standard, I kept wondering if Allah Mian had sent me 4 rupees that day. What harm could it have been possible caused anyone? So he's just thinking till the 7th and 8th standard, he was just thinking about Allah Mian if he be on that day. Then what harm would it have been possibly caused anyone? Nothing will harm. It was only later that I came to the conclusion that if Allah Mian were to provide all of the asking, then man would be even today living in a nest like vultures and crows, would not have learned the art of making Jalebis. So here, at last he realized that the God always give the best to the human being, and even today God gives whatever we are asking to him. If the God gives, definitely we will be lives in the nest like vultures and crows. We will not learn the art of making this. That means we will not think of the God. If he is giving everything, whatever we are asking to him, then we will not seek God, we will not ask for the help. So that's all from the story, children, written by Ahmad Nadeem Osmi. So children, that's all from the story Jalebis. So write the classwork neatly, draw the lines after each question, write the title, unit number, mention whether it is a poem, prose or essay, write everything neatly and send it to me.